The difference between a leader and achiever is an achiever, it could be all about me. Leader, it's not all about me, it's all about them. Being an entrepreneur, this is the tough shift. You need discipline to do the day-to-day work required to get better. If you're the founder and it's your idea and it's your baby, it is hard to let go. A lot of entrepreneurs don't have people background. I will be happy when I get the money, status, BMW, condominium, we go public, I will be happy when. There is no when. Life is short. It goes fast. You need to enjoy the process of life itself. Life is incredibly easy to talk. Life's just incredibly difficult to live. Achievement and happiness are independent variables. Never believe achievement's going to make you happy.
Welcome to Success Story. I'm your host, Scott Clary. The Success Story podcast is part of the HubSpot podcast network. Now, HubSpot is the resource that you need to tap into if you are an entrepreneur. It's no secret that starting a business is hard. Even if you have an amazing idea, bringing it to life can feel overwhelming. With HubSpot's new Entrepreneurship Kit, you can go from idea to IPO with the help of a company that knows a thing or two about growing better. This all-inclusive kit gives you step-by-step guidance and frameworks to help you crush every stage of starting a business. With tools tailored to help all steps of the entrepreneurial journey, it's packed with templates for project management, emails, skill development templates. There's also a solopreneur guide. It's got freelancing, pricing worksheets, and lots more that you can use to get up and running immediately. And best of all, it's free. With expert guidance and frameworks from HubSpot, starting a business doesn't have to be hard. So don't wait to start yours. Go to HubSpot.com/ENT to download the guide right now. Marshall, thank you for coming on. I appreciate you being here. I'm excited for this. I've heard you on other podcasts discuss that you don't love to really define leadership because everybody has maybe their own definition, and it doesn't really help or benefit anyone to define in one myopic view what leadership is. Let's flip that a little bit. What are the actions or what are the qualities of somebody who's a good leader?
Well, I will kind of violate my own code and give you a definition. And it came from my old teacher, Dr. Paul Hersey. He said, just use an operational definition. So when I use leadership, this is what I mean. Working with and through others to achieve objectives. And the key word in the definition is others. The difference between a leader and achiever is an achiever, it could be all about me. Leader, it's not all about me, it's all about them. And you worked far more entrepreneurs than I have. As you know, being an entrepreneur, this is the tough shift. From you to them, from being an achiever, which is all about me. I'm a brilliant guy, I'm hardworking, I've got my job done, I love the product, to scaling where it all becomes about them. So, looking at the group of people you've worked with, I would say that is a number one challenge. In terms of what I do for developing leaders, three characteristics stand out. One, to get better, leaders need to have courage. It takes courage to do the stuff I teach. I mean, it's easy to understand in theory. It's hard to do in practice. It takes humility. I've learned, I really, as an executive coach, I can't help perfect people. So if somebody's perfect, how much I would do about it? You need some humility and you need discipline to do the day-to-day work required to get better. And you don't get better because you read a book or go to a course. You got to work. So I'd say that's about it.
That's it. Easy. No complicated formula at all, right? I'm so curious because you came from academia. And then coming from academia, you realize there's theory and then there's real life. So maybe even just walk me through very briefly a little bit about your background because you pivoted from academia to working hands-on with people building real companies and big companies. But then also maybe where academia doesn't quite get what happens when you're actually building the thing and they miss the mark a little bit because you've seen both worlds. You lived in both worlds.
Yes. Well, let me give you my background. I'm born in a small town called Valley Station, Kentucky. My dad had a 2-pump gas station, so I'm quite familiar with guaranteed base salary of zero and being an entrepreneur. So my dad had a little 2-pump gas station back in Valley Station. Low income, low education environment. High school came in next to last in Kentucky in academic achievement. So think about that. That's where I'm from. We were defeated by Appalachia. Not good for academic achievement, not real good. So then I went to school. I got an undergraduate degree at Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology, a little engineering school. I was almost evicted 3 times, got 5 Ds, barely graduated. But last year, went back and gave the commencement speech. And first thing I said is, hey, let's hear it for the bottom of the class. Hey, you never know. You never know. Then I got an MBA at Indiana and a PhD at UCLA, and I was a college professor and dean, as you mentioned. Then what happened is I met a very famous man named Dr. Paul Hersey. And he got double booked. He said, can you do what I do? I was a college professor. I don't know, I'll try. He said, I'll pay $1,000 for a day. I was making $15,000 a year. I said, sign me up, coach. So I do a program for this guy. Arnell was hugely successful. They were very angry when I showed up instead of him, but I was a big hit. Said, you want to do it again? I said, I'm making $15,000 a year. You're paying me $1,000 a day. Yes, sir. I'll do this as much as you want. That's how I got into leadership development, and then coaching, same thing. I met a guy who was a big CEO, and he said, this kid, we're a young, smart, dedicated, hardworking jerk. He'd be worth a fortune. Maybe you turn kids' behavior around. I said, I like fortunes. Maybe I could help him. He said, I doubt it. I said, I'll try. He said, I don't think you could do it. I did. So I'll work with this kid for a year. If he gets better, pay me. You don't get better, it's free. You know what he said? Sold. That's how I got into coaching. There was nothing called coaching. I just made it up.
I love it. Did you find, but just to that point though, when you were teaching students, you were teaching the same material that you were teaching to and coaching entrepreneurs on. Do you ever find that there's a disconnect between what academia thinks versus?
Total disconnect, right? There's a total disconnect. Very few people in the academic world have any idea about business at all anymore. So there's often just a chronic disconnect because they're not reinforced for that. They're reinforced for basically doing research and what they do is good. It's just not practical, real world kind of stuff. So when people do go back to school, I always tell them, never confuse getting a degree and wisdom. You acquire wisdom to acquire wisdom, get degrees to get degrees. They're not the same thing. And, if you get them confused, just get in trouble. So, the real world is quite a different place than academia, and especially for entrepreneurs. Look, they're not used to it. I relate to entrepreneurs for 2 reasons. One, you say, I work with people in the real world every day. My clients are very real world. I'm proud to say I've coached 5 people as CEO of the year in the United States. That's the real world. That's the real world. On the other, and also, my guaranteed base salary has been for 47 years?
0. Absolutely 0.
I can't understand what it's like to wake up in the morning and, in 47 years, I missed 4 weeks of work. Mom died, dad died, had a ruptured appendix and got COVID. That was it. Other than that, guess what? How about headaches?
Yeah.
How about headaches? No, how about my foot hurts? Not so much. Have a cold. Nope. You just show up. So I like entrepreneurs. I have the highest amount of respect for entrepreneurs. You know why? I know what it feels like.
Do you think that, you are one. You gave up that $15,000 a year salary. By the way, we're laughing at $15,000, but when you're a professor, I'm sure that it was not nothing. So
no, it was
it was still significant.
It was equivalent to $80,000 today or something.
Right. Yeah. So you still have people that want to make the jump to entrepreneurship, and they're making $100K or $150K, or sometimes they're making even more than that. They're making $200, $250, whatever. It doesn't matter. And then everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. I don't know if entrepreneurship was sexy when you were becoming an entrepreneur, because you said coaching wasn't a thing. I think it seems like everyone and their mother is a coach, but that's besides the point.
By the way, unemployed people used to all say they were realtors. Now they all say they're life coaches.
But I think people don't understand how difficult it actually is to build something from scratch. And I think that's actually, this is nothing to do with, well, maybe it has a little bit to do with leadership, but just on a total aside, I feel like entrepreneurship is maybe overhyped a little bit. And I think that more real conversations about entrepreneurship have to happen so people understand what they're getting into. Because now you work with large, Fortune 500. I'm sure you work with very early stage as well. So you see it all. And I'm actually curious, from somebody who is like a leadership coach, what is the difference when you speak to somebody who is a Fortune 500 CEO or C-suite or executive versus somebody who is just starting out and started their first side hustle? What are the attributes that are the same, like leadership attributes, entrepreneurship attributes? What are the ones that are different?
Well, I think usually when I'm coaching a corporate CEO, they're pretty good at delegating. They're pretty good at scaling. They're running billions of dollars worth of stuff, right? So they get problems typically, but that's not their problem. When I'm coaching an entrepreneur is quite different, especially a founder. If you're the founder and it's your idea and it's your baby, it is hard to let go. It's hard not to be right. It's hard to let others do it. And it's hard to live with, 80% is good, but it's getting bigger than everything I want. So for an entrepreneur, I find that is a big, big challenge. Also, a lot of entrepreneurs don't have people background. So most of the corporate CEOs, they're more like MBA types, or, they usually have some business or people-oriented educational background or something. Entrepreneurs are often engineers, scientists, people like that, and they have zero background in terms of leading people. So, working with entrepreneurs, I find is really, it's interesting and challenging to get them to focus on the people dimension. The people I coach need to focus on it at the higher levels, yet a little bit different.
Then do you feel like this like leadership skill set, do you feel like it can be taught to anybody? Because you feel like it can't, because the reason why I ask is because I've heard many times, and this is also something that I believe as well to a degree, the person to build a business to $10 million may not be the person to build a business to 50 million or 100 million, who may not be the person to build a business to IPO. Now, is that a leadership problem, or is that like almost like a technical aptitude experience problem? Because maybe leadership can be taught.
It's a little bit, but number one, leaders can get better. I'm often asked this ridiculous question, are leaders born or are they made, all this stuff. All leaders are born. 100% of every leader I met has been born. So they're all born. The thing is, leaders can get better.
Yes.
Now the question is, can you make this transition? Yes. Is it easy? No. Will everyone do it? No. So obviously it can be done. That doesn't mean it's easy to do. It can be very difficult to do. It's a different challenge. It's a different world. I've gone to a lot of companies just get ready for IPO, and these are typically engineers that started the company. They bright guys, creative, work their butts off, and they've just made it happen over time. It's not an easy transition, though. It is a different job. I like the way you phrase the whole thing. It's not the same job.
Mm-hmm.
But this job, now it's this version of this job. It's like you're doing a whole different job.
I'm assuming part of your job as a leadership coach, executive coach, is probably more like psychologist than anything else. I feel like people just get in their own head. Maybe you speak to some of the more common issues people have, but I'm assuming you're probably reinforcing things that people already know. You're holding them accountable. You're getting them over their imposter syndrome. I don't know. You tell me what's your framework, but that I feel like that's a version of it.
My whole area of expertise is behavioral change. I'm not an expert on technology. I'm an honorary PhD in engineering, but I'm not a real engineer here.
Yeah.
I'm a pretend to be engineer. So, my undergraduate degree is in mathematical economics. I got a PhD in organizational behavior. My whole area is behavioral change. So I am not an expert on corporate strategy or anything like that. My area is I help great people achieve positive change in their behavior. So that's what I do.
And that means that you have to change some mindset habits that are massively blocking them, right? Yeah.
Well, and by the way, if they're all perfect, they wouldn't need me, would they?
So you have a feedback and follow-up system, and that's like your go-to system. And I'm also always curious because I see you mentioned back when you were still a dean, if people were out of a job, they'd say they're realtors. Now they say they're coaches. So you have a system. Everyone has a system. Your system has built you, obviously, an incredible career, and you have 1.5 million on LinkedIn. You have massive following. You've written books on it. You have accolades. You have credentials. You have experience. You've proven out that you know your shit. What makes your system so successful? Also, double part question, which is bad, but whatever. You'll handle it. What makes your system so successful? But also, how can somebody who's looking to sort of upskill themselves understand, out of all the different systems out there that accomplish different things, who to look for in a coach and a person? Like, how do you gauge who's full of it versus who's not?
Well, first, let me answer the first question. I may or may not remember after that the second question.
I'll get back to it. It's fine. Don't worry.
So the first question is, how does my system work? My system is aimed at helping successful leaders achieve positive change in behavior. That's it. So number one, if that's not what you want, don't use my system. That's what the system is for. The system that I'm very proud of, it's called stakeholder-centered coaching. And by the way, you don't need to be a PhD to do this. He just died about a year ago. Chris Coffey was the best coach we had. He got better results than me in terms of a coach. He was amazing getting results. He had zero background in psychology, zero background in business. He was a failed actor who barely graduated from college. You know what he got, though? He got results. How did he get results? Because of the system. The system's pretty simple. In my job, I interview everyone around my clients. I develop a confidential profile. Here's what you're doing well. Here's what you're not doing well. They don't know who said what. They pick important behavior to improve. Then we have an ongoing follow-up system. They talk to people what they learned. They actually apologize for their mistakes. They ask for input about how they can do better. They call it feed forward. I call it feed forward process. You ask for ideas, you listen, you shut up, you take notes, you say thank you, and you do it over and over again. They follow up with the clients. I follow up with them over and over and over. And for 47 years, I didn't get paid if my clients didn't get better. Better is not judged by me or them, it's judged by everyone around them. I mean, how do you know if someone believes what they're saying? I'm asking a question. You want to bet on it? I say, I believe it, but I wouldn't bet on it. Guess what? They don't believe it. They say, here's the money. They believe it. I bet on this every time. Pretty much always got paid. Why? It's the system works. So in my basic coaching, it's a very transferable process. So that part of it is quite transferable. On the other hand, it doesn't fit what it doesn't fit. Let me tell you when it doesn't work. One, I don't work with people that don't care. So I'm frequently asked, how do I motivate people that don't want to change? And the answer is, I don't motivate people that don't want to change. If they don't want to change, I don't care. I say, fine, don't change. If they say, prove to me this is worth it, you know what I'd say? Probably not worth it. A terrible idea. Don't do it. I think it's stupid. You're right. It's stupid. Don't do it. It's okay. So I never try to motivate anyone, number one. Number two, this doesn't solve integrity problems. It doesn't solve strategy problems. It's helping people achieve positive change in their behavior who want to change. That's what it's good for.
So what you're highlighting is actually dovetailing into the next question. There's an answer hidden in that answer. And it's somewhere around making sure that people are understanding your true motives for getting involved with them, as opposed to like forcing something down your throat. So that's the hallmark of a reputable coach, I think.
Now, here's my strategy on this one. Ready? Here's how you find if you got a good coach for you. First, don't tell the coach what your problem is. Don't. See, that's counterintuitive. Don't tell the coach, here's what I need. There's too many coaches. Mm-hmm. If you say, here's what I need, most of them will say, oh, yes, I can do that. Well, maybe not. Maybe they can't do it, but they're probably going to say they can. Don't tell them what you need. Say, look, tell me, what are you the very best at? And they say, well, here's number one. Now, if they get down to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, be highly suspect. You notice, I don't claim to be a coach of 74 different things. Mm-hmm. One thing. What are you good at? This. Well, I don't need that. Fine. Get another coach. Well, don't tell the coach what you need. You ask the coach, what do you do best? And then if they get down to the third or fourth topic and they haven't hit what you need, eliminate. Okay. Then let's assume what they say is roughly what you're good at, what you need. Then ask them, okay, who have you coached? Who have you coached? And is there somebody in writing, references, real people you coach with real results? Now, some coaches are told, well, you can't tell people the names of your clients. You may have heard this before. Yeah, it's nonsense. Look at my book, The Earned Life. Let's see. President of the World Bank. Ooh, CEO of the Year. Oh, another CEO of the Year. Another CEO. Gee, they mention their names and they say they have a coach and it is me. Well, fine. And I don't. What is this nonsense? I can't tell you who my clients are. You know why they don't want to tell you who the clients are?
They don't have any. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know I love it because listen, we both work with a variety of entrepreneurs in different capacities, and I've never enjoyed the paid consulting side of it. I find it very hard, so I've actually stayed away from it. I enjoy doing the pro bono or the mentorship stuff more, just because consulting is a tough gig, and I guess the consulting coaching is the worlds kind of blend. But then I come from like a background building businesses. I don't come from a coaching background. But I see a lot of coaches, and as somebody who, for example, I work with Futurepreneur, and they every 6 months they'll give me like a new entrepreneur to work with for a couple months, and so when you start to work with these early stage entrepreneurs, you see almost like this predatory behavior, because these people that are trying to build, they latch on to anyone and anything that sort of validates what they're trying to do. And funny enough, I didn't even realize this behavior as somebody who's not even like a formal coach, but I actually say no to more entrepreneurs if Futurepreneur puts in front of me, because I know that I can't help them. Then yes, because I'm not like, there's no financial incentive, right? There's no financial, it would be a waste of both of our time. I have a background in tech. I know a little bit about consumer goods. If somebody puts an agency in front of you, I never built an agency. I have some general ideas, but I mean, there's probably somebody who's going to better serve you, right? So I probably disqualify more than accept some of the people that they put in front of me. But it's an interesting point, because I think that a lot of people get preyed on, and especially early stage entrepreneur, where they don't have the support system to vet, and they definitely don't have the money to waste, which is the biggest issue.
The coach needs the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. The median income for a coach in the United States is under $50,000 a year.
They should be realtors.
They make no money. They make no money. So coaching is a wonderful profession, a terrible business. It's a hard business. It's a very hard. So they have all these coaching schools that people go to, right? You know what they tell them? They tell them they're going to grow up and be me when they grow up. No, you're not.
But just probable, not every single person that goes through this school is going to be Marshall Goldsmith.
No, very unlikely. Look, another point you got that you're making about your audience, entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of people who work for big companies like Accenture, all these companies, and they leave and they're going to be entrepreneurs, and they get their butts handed to them.
Yeah.
Like they've never experienced life without daddy and mommy behind them writing checks. And you go out there in the real world, right? You don't have that Accenture name behind you or that IBM name. All of a sudden, it's a whole different ballgame out there. Yeah, you have a staff of people writing checks, and you don't have that big corporate McKinsey. You don't have that big name. I'm coaching an entrepreneur right now. He ran a country for McKinsey. Well, okay, that's nice. But you're not working with McKinsey now.
I think that entrepreneurs sometimes, first-time entrepreneurs, get their ego checked very quickly when they try and take a product to market. But that's why I think the most successful entrepreneur is somebody who's lived in an industry for 30 years and realizes a pain point, not just somebody who thinks that they can solve a problem that doesn't even exist yet. If you look at, you speak a lot about achievement and why you should look beyond achievement. I thought that was a very interesting perspective. So, you're looking at achievement, ambition, fulfillment, finding a meaningful life as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as even an employee. So we're talking about almost like KPIs for success. So yes, you as a coach, you unlock these, you remove these limiting beliefs, you do some behavior modification, but ultimately, when you work with people, where do you want them to end up? Because it's more than just getting, a better survey score from your team. There's more to it than that.
Exactly right. As I've grown older, I just try to help people have a great life to the degree I can. Most of my clients, I work with many people who are billionaires. They're already rich. I just want to help them have a good life. So what do you need to have a great life overall? Forgetting about just the money part of it. One, you need to have some higher purpose. Why am I doing this? You need an answer to the question, why? Some kind of higher purpose. Number two, you have to achieve. Because the people on this call, they're achievers. And then number three, you need to love the process of what you're doing. All right. Now, if you do that in the game of life, you won. Now, why am I talking to you right now? You know what I could be doing? I'm making a terrible sacrifice talking to you. I could be at this moment playing crappy golf with old men at the country club and eating chicken salad sandwiches while discussing gallbladder surgery.
You know what? I am sorry that I'm ruining your afternoon. It won't happen again.
I'm missing the old man and the gallbladder chat here. I mean, look, you gotta enjoy what you do, and here's the problem with achievement. The great Western myth is, I will be happy when I get the money, status, BMW, condominium, we go public. I will be happy when. There is no win. There is no win. When's an old person waiting to die? There is no win. So I think it's very important to achieve. But achievement and happiness are independent variables. Most people never get this. Achievement and happiness are independent variable. Achievement is good. Achieve to achieve. Happiness is good. Be happy to be happy. Don't think you're going to achieve your way to happiness. It's not going to happen. By the way, if achievement would make you happy, how happy would every one of my coaching clients be?
Exceptionally.
They would all be jumping up and down with joy every day. And they're not.
So when you deal with people that are billionaires, people that are CEOs of, again, the biggest companies in the world, what's a lesson for the rest of us that we should learn from that cohort of people when they've achieved all the shit that we wish we could achieve?
Well, the first thing is never believe achievement's going to make you happy. It won't. Now, why do we believe this? The great Western art form is there is a person, the person is sad, they spend money, they buy a product, and they become happy. It's called a commercial. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those before, but
Just a few.
That's hammered into our brain a zillion times. Why wouldn't we believe that? That's all we hear in our entire society. The reality is just not true. Person was sad, they bought a product, they were happy for a day or two, they're not happy anymore. Well, again, learning point for especially the young entrepreneurs listening. Look, life is short. I'm 75. I know that probably better than you do. Life is short. It goes fast. It goes fast. You need to enjoy the process of life itself. And it's so easy to get engrossed in being an entrepreneur and your business that it just takes on a life and you forget your life. And also, don't forget the people you love. It's so easy to do that. You forget the people you love. You forget to enjoy life. You get lost in this stuff. And I'm not saying this stuff isn't important. It is important. It's good to have achievement. It's just to realize achievement is good for what it is, but it's not good for what it's not. And by the way, never fall into the it's all going to be okay win trap. There is no win. There is no win.
I'm curious because you are 75 and you're still working and you're still building, and we'll talk about what you're building now. It's like you don't stop. It's like it's not even like you're just doing the same stuff as you did like 5 years ago. It's like you're still building new stuff. So it's like you're a living embodiment of this. But I guess I would ask, you obviously love what you do. how did you set up your life so that you would want to do this to the age of 75 and then some? What was the thing that was like, yes, this is it?
I'm very lucky. By the way, anyone successful that says it wasn't largely about luck is just full of it. They're arrogant, right? I am very lucky. I met a very famous man, like say Dr. Paul Hersey. He got double booked, gave me an opportunity, right? And I've been around really great people in my field, and also my clients. Like, I've learned so much from these people. In theory, I'm supposed to teach them. In practice, I learned way more from them than they learned from me, right? I should pay them money. Well, I'm lucky. And what I've learned being around mega successful people is that you need to find meaning in life. Look, let me tell you what, I've done 9 programs in my house with retiring CEOs. Now, these things range from tragic to hilarious. I mean, they have no clue. So they quit being a CEO, and some of them, their whole lives fall apart. Their whole lives have been, they have this dream life where everyone kisses their ass every 5 seconds, laughing at their jokes, tell them they're wonderful. And then they think the world is that way. Then they retire, and it's a complete and total nightmare. They just collapse. Well, what I've learned in these sessions is, life goes on. And, you may have money and status and all that stuff. Well, you got to wake up the next morning. Like one guy, he said, well, my wife became angry. She said I was in the kitchen alphabetizing the cans. And I asked her, baked beans, should that be BA for baked or perhaps BE for get out? Mike Duke was the CEO of Walmart. He was one of my clients, right? So he said, I had this joke I told when I was the CEO of Walmart. It was a funny joke, everybody laughing. And a clean joke, didn't offend anyone. He said, I retired. I'm in this group. Tell my joke. Nobody laughs. I said, they must be grumpy. I said, I'm another group. Tell my joke again. No one laughs. Finally said, my wife came to me. His wife says, Mike, you idiot. Did you actually think that stupid joke was funny? See, he was CEO of Walmart. That joke.
Everyone, of course.
I had dinner with him one night, and the CEO of General Mills and Steve Sanger having dinner with us, right? Mike tells a joke. He's 30% of General Mills' revenue. He tells the joke. You think Steve Sanger laughed? He could have told the joke twice. He laughed harder the second time.
It's because you have all these people that are just yes people around you all the time, and then you lose your purpose.
You start believing it's real.
Yeah.
You're not stupid. I mean, he's not stupid. He's a good guy. But you tell a joke, everyone laughs. What do you think? Boy, that joke must be funny. No, it's not funny.
I've seen this with people that sell their companies. I don't work with like CEOs like you do, but I deal with a lot of like exited founders. And the lack of purpose is just phenomenal with an exited founder. It's same, probably the exact same. It probably even more so because from like the first hire, they were there. A first hire, they were there, and they had these people that were just basically catering to them every single day. And then they sell the company and they get the check, and then they don't even have somebody to grab them coffee in the morning. It's like nothing.
Well, the other thing is, look, how often does this happen? You sell the company. I have to tell these people, when you cash the check, it's not your company anymore.
Yeah.
You don't want to sell the company. Do not cash the check. When you cash the check, it's their company. You get acquired. They give you the same bullshit. Oh, this really isn't an acquisition. It's more like a merger. And we're really going to learn more from you than you learn from us. Blah, 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 blah. And as soon as you cash the check, they do whatever they want to do. You know what? It's not your company anymore. Grow up. It's their company. And how many times you heard that? Well, they've really screwed it up and they don't understand and they this and they that. Well, you know what? Don't sell it. Don't they?
And then, they get a board seat, but then they get ousted from the board and then they're gone. And yeah, I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot. But it's about what's your purpose? Like, what's your purpose in life? And I actually think that's a really great leadership and great entrepreneurship is having a purpose outside of the work you do. And I think that when you play at that level, it's hard. I think it's very hard.
It is very hard. And
it's so wrapped up.
If you don't have one, go find one. Because if you don't have one, you don't find one. You drive everyone around you, including yourself, crazy.
Yeah. How have you not let your work fully encompass your identity?
Well, I love my work. Now, for me, my life is why I work? I love what I do. So what I do is fun. Now, if it's not fun, guess what?
You don't do it.
I'll do it. When I'm coaching people, will I enjoy this? Do you want to do this? Are you going to be a good client? Great. Have any slightest problem? Go away. I don't have to do this. So basically, I just have fun. And I work as much as I want to have fun. Let's see. Now, if I'm not having a good time, there's only one human in the world I can blame for that. Whose fault is that? I am an idiot. Yeah, so I have a good time. Why wouldn't I have a good time? Let's see. I got plenty of money. Do whatever I want to do. Have a nice home, nice family, healthy. What the hell?
I love it. All right. I want to go back to a couple more ideas that you have that you sort of ruminated on over the years. So you have a couple different philosophies. You've written several books. This is what's so fun about chatting with you. Like you've taught so many different things over that we could probably talk all day, but we will not. We'll try and keep this relevant to the audience. You, what were you going to say?
Nothing. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. So you speak about a couple different philosophies. You spoke sort of about the meanings of success in your mind. You also, as part of like your philosophy on life, you have daily reflections, which are important for what exactly? What are these daily reflections? How do they serve somebody who is like a high performing individual?
I'm going to give number one, there's a process called the daily question process. All right. Now I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm now going to teach everyone listening something that takes 3 minutes a day, costs absolutely zero. It's going to help you get better at almost anything. Many listeners, 3 minutes a day, costs nothing. Help me get ridiculous, too good to be true. Half the people that start doing this quit in 2 weeks. They don't quit because it does not work. They quit because it does work. This is hard to do. What I'm going to teach you next, I've had somebody call me on the phone almost every day for 25 years to make sure I do this stuff. Why? My name is Marshall. I'm too cowardly and undisciplined to do any of this stuff by myself. This stuff is hard. Don't kid yourself. It's hard for me, hard for you, hard for anybody. Here's how it works. Get out a spreadsheet. On one column, write down a list of questions represent what's most important in your life. Friends, family, coworkers, etc. Every question is answered with yes, no, or number. Yes is a 1, no is a 0 or a number. Fill it out every day. At the end of the week, you get a report card. I will warn your listeners in advance. A report card at the end of the week, it's not as pretty as a corporate values plaque you see stuck up on the wall. See, I've been doing this 25 years. You do this every day. You know what you learn? Life is incredibly easy to talk. Life's just incredibly difficult to live. It's not so pretty every day to do this. You look at that little report card every day. Every day we act like a jerk, say stupid things, don't eat the healthy food we're supposed to eat, forget to work out, blah, 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 day after day after day. It's hard. It's very, very hard. Like for one of my questions every day, how many times yesterday you tried to prove you were right when it wasn't worth it? Well, I don't see too many zeros on my scorecard. Kind of hard for that old professor not to be right all the time. How many angry or destructive comments you make about people yesterday? I don't see so many zeros there. Well, I don't want other people stabbing me in the back. How come I'm stabbing them in the back? Well, this stuff is hard to do. Very hard. One of them, are you currently updated on your physical exam? One guy I was coaching said no 90 days in a row. He finally got the exam. You know what the doctor told him? You got cancer. Yeah, he's fine. Doctor said, you waited 7 months, you'd be dead. He knew he should have got a physical exam, he just didn't do it. I'm going to give your audience 6 questions every day. You don't do anything today, but these 6 questions every day, you're going to have a better life. Number 1, every day, did I do my best to set clear goals? Now, the questions all begin with, did I do my best to? Doesn't even say you did it. Did you even try to do it? That's harder. You see, if I say, did I do my best? I can't blame somebody. Did I do my best to set clear goals? Number two, did I do my best to make progress toward achieving the goals I actually set, which is much harder than it sounds? Number three, every day, did I do my best to be happy? Did I do my best every day? In my book, one of my books, I talk about 3 people I'm coaching. They're all medical doctors. They're all famous people. President of the World Bank, head of the Rockefeller Foundation, head of the Mayo Clinic. I don't think they're stupid. Every day, did I do my best to be happy? How'd you score average day? All 3 had the same answer. Never dawned on me to try to be happy. They're all medical doctors. I said, well, did it dawn on you you're going to die? Did they cover that in med school there? Death. See, they brought that topic up. See, these are dumb questions. I forgot to ask. Good point. Maybe I should be happy. Good idea. And I'm coaching one guy worth $4 billion. He wanted to be happier. He got a lot better. I call him after I coached him about 2 or 3 years. Like, how's it going? Not so great. What happened? I forgot to be happy. Well, we forget to be happy. Number 4, every day, did I do my best to find meaning? Rather than waiting for the world to give you meaning, every day try to create meaning. Number 5, did I do my best to build positive relationships? Rather than waiting for everybody else to be your friend or you're their friend. And finally, number 6, did I do my best to be fully engaged? Rather than waiting for someone else to engage, like the employee engagement stuff, I think it's a lot of nonsense. Well, you got to engage people. What's that about? You're an adult. You do your best to engage yourself. So every day, 6 questions. Fill it out every day. You'll get better. Most people quit in 2 weeks. By the way, famous article about this. Send me an email, marshall@goldsmith.com. I'll send you an article about it. But
I just want to take a second and thank the HubSpot Podcast Network for supporting Success Story. The HubSpot Podcast Network has incredible podcasts like The Product Boss, hosted by Jacqueline Snyder and Minna Kunlo Sithep. If you want to take your physical product sales and strategy to the next level to create your dream life, you need to listen to The Product Boss. They sit down for an hour. They do a workshop style podcast. They're going to talk about everything that you need to know to up-level yourself, social media, marketing. If you're in consumer packaged goods, if you have any sort of physical widget, you need to tune into The Product Boss wherever you get your podcasts. It's hard work, but it's not complicated work.
2 words we can choose: simple and easy. Now, everything I teach is simple. And I teach brilliant people. Go ask my clients how easy it is.
Why do you think people have such a hard time with their own accountability when they talk a lot? They say they want to be healthier. They say they want to make more money. They say they want to start a business. They say they want to get a promotion. But when you look at, and the reason why I ask is because sometimes I have a hard time understanding that gap, because me as an individual, I'm not by any means perfect, but I am somebody that usually takes a massive amount of action towards the things that I want. Probably more so than most people, which is probably why I've achieved some of the things that I've achieved in my life. I mean, just statistically, I think that most people, I would be considered somewhat of an outlier, very similar to you. So if you're an outlier, what is the personality habit or trait that allowed you to be like this when, for example, I look at even my parents, successful, but not high risk, not going to the gym 6 times a week. Parts of their life maybe they have, not all the time, right? It's very important to me. So what is the thing that allowed me to do this, allowed you to do this religiously, where some people, they fail after 2 weeks?
Well, I can't do it religiously by myself. That's why I have someone call me every day.
You have someone call you every day?
For 25 years, almost. Yeah, every day. Yeah. Well, I think you may have missed that. I'm cowardly and undisciplined. But now, I said you needed 3 things early: courage, humility, and discipline, you see. Now let's see. Courage, no, not so much for me. Humility, good. See, I'm humble enough to admit I can't do it. Discipline, bad. So I'm saved by the fact that I need help. Look, get help.
Yeah.
Get out. You can't do it on your own. Fine. Get somebody to kick your ass every day. Get help. Get help.
Build a system. Like, you need a system to scale a business. You need a system to scale your life.
Exactly. That's what I do for a living. And get over your ego.
Yeah.
Quit being ashamed to need help. We're ashamed to need help. People are ashamed to need help. Get over that. I'm not ashamed. I need help. You think I'm better than my clients? I'm not better than my clients. My clients are great people. I'm not pretending to be better than them. Help. They need help. You don't think I need help? I need a ton of help.
This system that you deploy, like for high performing people in particular, why does it work so well?
It'll work well for anybody. The high performing people are just more likely to do it. You almost answered your own question.
Yeah.
High performing people higher performing, and lower performing people lower performing. Yeah.
Is there something that, do you think that, okay, so say somebody does this 6-question system, and they're having trouble even doing the system that holds them accountable. What's get help, get personal accountability?
Get help, get somebody kick your ass. You either do or don't want to do it. If you can't do it by yourself, it's okay. It's okay to need. Look, there's a great book called The Checklist Manifesto. About the medical checklist. You're going to have a surgery. The nurse asks the doctor a series of questions before the surgery. The odds on uneven inflection plummet, and the death rate's cut by 2/3. And the huge majority of hospitals in the United States do not let the nurse ask the doctor the questions. Why? Ego. The doctor is ashamed to admit they need help. Ego. According to Dr. Gwandi, more people have died from the egos of surgeons just in the United States than died in the Vietnam War and the Afghan War and the Iraqi War put together. Why? They're ashamed. They're ashamed to say, I need help. They're ashamed to say, I forget to wash my hands. They're humans. You forget to wash your hands sometimes. It happens.
One of the projects that you're working on right now is sort of focused on the concept of knowledge philanthropy, or the democratization of knowledge, which is now happening everywhere, right? So it's happening on YouTube, it's happening on podcasts, happening right now. But just talk to me about the democratization of knowledge, sort of like why you chose, again, you keep building stuff, which I find is phenomenal. You're still building new shit. But why you chose to take on this new sort of knowledge philanthropy project? Give me like some background on this.
Well, I've been trying to do this for 20 years. So the idea is not a new idea. I've been doing it. And you know what? I will say, after 20 years of effort, I was a complete and abject failure on almost everything I tried. This stuff is hard to do.
You're so damn hard on yourself for no reason.
Oh, it's hard to do. I mean, I don't know if there was something called interactive video. It cost $2,000 or $3,000. These big clunky boxes I'd carry around. Total failure. Recently, though, the new technology has really enabled this stuff to work. So I am very lucky. Now, all you got to do is go to Marshall Goldsmith, my name, .ai. It's all free. Now, one thing I'm proud of, there's no trick to this. See, most people give away something, there's a trick. Oh, yeah, this is free, but once you pay extra, you get to go to a special club, blah, 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 blah. There's no trick. It's actually free. That's what it's called. Knowledge philanthropy, not knowledge trick. So this is all free.
So what did you do? You trained an AI on what? Every single video you've ever recorded?
Oh, yeah, everything I ever did. But it's better than that. See, that's where it was 2 months ago. The last 2 months has gone through the roof. My goal was to teach this thing everything I knew. Therefore, anybody that wanted to ask me a question can ask me a question, and he'll answer it like 80% as good as I could. That was my goal. Stupid goal. It's so much better than that now. It is mind-blowing. Let me just give you a couple of examples. So my daughter wants to trick the AI. She says, oh, how is your coaching related to utilitarian philosophy? I don't even know what utilitarian philosophy is. Bing, 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 bing. Brilliant answer. I'm coaching a guy who's a co-CEO. What's it like to be a co-CEO? That's not that common of a job. This thing is amazing. I use my friend Al Mulally with Ford describe the working together process. He's an engineer. The thing gets it perfect. Here's what it does. You say, oh, I'm a Buddhist myself, so I can understand the answers better. How is Buddhist philosophy related to your coaching? It studies Buddhist philosophy. It studies my coaching, and it gives you this, and it studies the way I would answer the question, and gives you this ungodly brilliant answer in about 5 seconds. Now, this thing started out as text. It's soon going to be audio. Then it's going to video, where you're going to see this guy with a green T-shirt and bald guy talking. And then ultimately, it's going to be available in multiple languages. This is mind-blowing. Now, not that I'm shallow or anything, but let's be honest. You're in the high-tech business, and I'm 75. On the cool-o-meter spectrum, how cool is this? Let's face it, this is off the damn charts.
It is. It's very cool. But I think this is going to be like, so cool. This is what people are going to start doing, though. They're going to start codifying their knowledge. I think this is when I saw that you were doing this, I was like, this is so awesome, because it shows how you lean in to a new technology. You're not running away from it, and you're not, oh, I'm not going to have a job in 6 months because people can go on ChatGPT. It's like you're leaning into it and you augment what you're already doing. It's like a leverage thing.
I use it with every one of my clients. Before this call, the previous call, I used it.
Yeah.
Previous call I was on, I used this, right? And so I use this all. Look, I don't care. I can tell you, this is not a coaching bot. It's a knowledge and information bot. I can't compete with this thing. I mean, it knows everything I know and a lot more, and it has a photographic memory. No offense to me. I do not have a photographic memory. It does. It's better than me. It's not a little better than me. It's way the hell better than me. It's okay. I'm not in a contest with it, right? It wins, right? Well, look, no offense to the other coaches out there, but I got ranked #1 coach for years, and it's way smarter than me. So if you think you're smarter than this thing, you are hallucinating.
Where does the human component come in? That's where I'm curious. So what you just said is scary for somebody who is a knowledge worker who's, okay, listen, what if people discover how to use Goldsmith.ai or any of the other LLMs or AI tools, if it can just regurgitate information or even regurgitate it better or with more relevant examples or frameworks or whatnot, I'm like, okay, well, shit, I'm out of a job. So what is the human component that you still bring to the AI result of the inquiry or the question?
Now, let me tell you what it doesn't do. One, it's not as goofy as me. So one thing about it, it doesn't really have that much personality. It's hard to teach these things humor, right? But it's a little more on the serious side. My clients say, you know what I really don't like about it, that you have, it never gives me any shit like you do. So it's actually nicer than me. It doesn't insult my clients, give them a hard time, right? It's much nicer than me. It's not very funny. It doesn't give them any crap. So let me tell you what it does do. It's an information sharing device. Look, nobody gets better because they learn the damn information anyway. Look, I did a little thing recently with medical doctors. I'm studying compliance of taking the medicine. The average medical doctor does no better than the average intelligent person in taking the medicine that they actually prescribe. The problem is not knowledge, it's execution. The problem with what I teach is not knowledge. My clients, what do I teach? My best client I ever worked with, Al Mulally. He was CEO of Ford. When CEO of Boeing, went over to Ford, he's the best CEO in the world. I spent an hour with the guy. Alan said, is this all there is to that coaching thing? I said, that's about it. He said, yeah, I built airplanes. I can do this stuff. Well, you know, then I said, Alan, what's the key to the coaching success? You know, he said, you got one job. Work with smart, dedicated people. You're going to look like a hero. Work with losers. You look like an idiot, right?
Yeah.
So thank you, sir. Changed my life. Well, back to this stuff. The problem is execution. It's not theory. You cannot fight this thing on knowledge and information. I can tell you, don't even try. I cannot defeat this thing on knowledge. It is good. On the other hand, knowledge does not mean you're going to get any better.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge doesn't mean you're going to get better. Why do people hire me? I don't say anything that complex. By the way, they can read the book. They can read the book. I write books. Read the book. Watch the video. Listen to the podcast. I give it all away. Why do they hire me? Well, they hire me because they're not going to do stuff by themselves. If they could, they wouldn't hire me. You know what they're not going to do by themselves? It's hard to do by yourself. The other reason they hire me is a little bit different. There's an old saying, it's lonely at the top. It used to be lonely at the top. It's lonelier at the top today. They got no one to talk to. Social media, internet, whatever they say, bloom. They can get crucified in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
They get to talk to. So, it's just nice for them to have somebody to talk to. Also, somebody tells them the damn truth. I mean, they're surrounded by this all day.
Yeah.
It's nice to have somebody just tell you the truth, try to help you, and not trying to get promoted.
You know what's interesting too with AI and all the bots and the tools out there and all the databases of knowledge, and you're one of the probably the first people that I've seen to codify all their knowledge into a bot. I think companies are probably doing it already for like a slightly different purpose. They're like taking all their stuff, putting it into these models, but it doesn't replace lived experience. That's the one thing it can never replace. So, yeah.
I mean, it is not human. Now, let me tell you, this is hard to do. I put hundreds of hours into this thing.
Yeah, I was listening to some podcasts where we jumped on. I guess you got investment for this, or there was a whole play to this.
Four variables involved. One, who's going to make this work? One, you got to have a ton of content.
Yeah.
Content. If you have a ton of content, this is not going to work. Two, you got to be willing to give it away. Okay. Three, as you mentioned, you got to have a lot of followers. So let's say I've got a ton of content and I'm willing to give it away, but I have no followers. No one cares you're giving it away. No one knows and no one cares. I'm giving all my stuff away for free, and who cares? No one cares. And then for those, somebody's got to write a check. Yeah, I'm working with a group of people called Fractal Analytics. They spend an incredibly large sum of money on this thing. Now, why? They're Indian, Hindu philosophy, parent, God, teacher. Teacher is a huge deal. Guru just means teacher in Hindi. I'm the guru. They're doing this a favor to me and give back. It's all free. There's not some secret catch here. It's all free. And for them, it's also a learning opportunity, of course, because already we've had 42,000 people, 42,000 questions already.
Really? Jeez, good. How old is it? It's relatively new, no?
Yeah, well, I really even haven't done the rollout yet.
Yeah, because I was looking on your social and I didn't see you pushing it super, super hard on social yet. Okay. So it's like it's needed. If you have people already doing 42,000 different asks, it's popular. It's very popular. Very good. What one of your books, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Very influential book. How does this tie into AI? Because it seems to be like a very similar theme as to what you're doing right now.
Yeah, and it's that book. I've sold 3 million books. That book sold as much as the others all put together. I mean, that book is a mega book. And what I like about the book, the title is a great title. What Got You Here.
It is a good title.
That's the whole thing, though. Look, the world changes. Now look at me. It's not like I'm not trying to learn new stuff. Hell, I'm 75. I'm going to try to learn new things, do new things, try to learn all the time. Why? Well, what got me where I was fine. I don't live there anymore. We're in a new world. That's the way life is. To me, life is like this continuous learning adventure. And you might as well face it. The pace of change is not going to slow down. Pace of change is only going to speed up. It's life. It's life. So I think it's really good just make peace with that. Life is just this ongoing learning thing, and that's the way it is. It's okay.
You mentioned that this is a knowledge database. It's easy to inquiry and to search for stuff. The human component is one part of it's going to be execution, but another piece of the human component that is always important that I've heard you emphasize is the ability to ask good questions, which has always been important. But I think speak to why it's so important now.
Well, and number one, it's very important. But number two, here's why it's hard for a computer bot to do this. And I have a degree in math, undergrad. So here's why it's hard. Let's say you come to the computer bot and say, give me career advice. Well, that seems nebulous. Then I ask you a good question. Well, how old are you? That's a pretty relevant question. Okay. You give me an answer. Well, now you see the number of responses has to be huge to cover that answer. What industry are you interested in? What's your educational background? Every time you add a new iteration, you're adding a multiplier to the number of answers that need to be available to answer your question. It becomes mathematically very difficult in a very short period of time. So it is very hard to program a computer to ask questions and provide intelligent responses, because after a while, it just clicks out. You're getting a boom, that number goes to infinity faster than you would make it. It's very, very hard. The other thing is a computer is not human. So I was coaching somebody today. Well, I'm trying to talk to the guy. And one thing I teach clients is never say no, but or however. When I talk to you, I find you $20 every time you do it. So we've had a good conversation. All of a sudden he starts getting, well, no, you're defensive and all that shit. Time out. I said, I'm supposed to talk. You're supposed to say thank you, not no, and you're doing your head like this. And I said, let me tell you something. You don't hear what I'm saying. Oh, no, you're confused about blah, blah, blah. I said, excuse me, I'm not confused. I've done this 50 years. You don't hear what I'm saying. Now, I want you to be quiet and listen to what I'm saying and say thank you when I get done. Well, the computer bot's not going to do that. Computer bot's not going to go, computer bot's not going to say, now, why don't you be quiet now? And the computer bot's not going to say, you don't want to hear this. No, computer bot doesn't want to do that. So like this guy also said, I said, okay, we've talked about how godlike you are. That's nice. Oh, what do you need to get better at? Well, let me give you a hit. Somebody says, what do you need to improve? You can't think of something. I got one for you. Pick humility. Let's work on humility.
That's usually a good one.
Yeah, if you think you have nothing to improve, pick humility. Yeah, you have trouble figuring out what you need to work on. Let's try humility. That's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Computer bot's not going to do that.
But I'm assuming, this is wisdom that you see so relevant now, the ability to ask good questions. But I think half the reason why you're successful at the work that you do is because you've had the ability to ask good questions for the past 50 years, which is, I think, what really you're just seeing it's not just a nice to have, it's a need to have as a skill.
Well, also for leaders, Peter Drucker, my mentor, said the leader of the past knows how to tell, the leader of the future knows how to ask. We all need to ask questions. Are you single or married? I forgot to ask you that question.
I'm not married, but I'm not single. So we're married soon. We've been together 5 years.
5 years. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Let me ask you some questions. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Fun. Do you believe that customer satisfaction is important? Yes or no? Customer satisfaction.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's important. And should we ask our customer for information and learn from our good customers? Should we do this?
1,000%. Yeah.
1,000%. I'm remembering these words. 1,000%.
I feel like I'm setting myself up for something, but that's okay.
Now you have a partner. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. If you spend a lot of time asking your partner, what can I do to be a better partner in our relationship?
Probably not as much as I should.
All of a sudden, what happened to that 1,000%? Absolutely. I noticed a dip in that level of enthusiasm. Now, I have a question. Who's more important, those customers don't even know your name, or that partner you're going to marry? Who's
definitely the partner. Definitely, yeah.
When we get done, you're going to go talk to your partner and say, partner, I got a question. What can I do to be a better partner here? You know what your partner's going to think? What happened to him?
Yeah, she is gonna wonder what kind of podcast I was on. How this turned from a business podcast to a relationship podcast. But you're not wrong. Actually, you know what? I think that that's a huge blind spot that most people have, because especially high performing people who are building stuff, you get so focused on. But by the way, this is why relationships are destroyed all the time. because you get focused on, okay, how do I drive revenue? How do I scale? How do I grow? How do I reduce churn? How do I reduce acquisition costs? How do I increase lifetime value of the customer? And I'm going to have customer interviews, and I'm going to have surveys. I'm going to have all these groups sitting down, or what are they called? Like focus groups, whatever. And you don't do that for 30 years. It hasn't been 30 years. You don't do it for 30 years with the person that you're married to. But a lot of good practice, best practices in business, I think they're probably just universal. It's not
I got a little exercise for everyone listening right now. Everyone listening, are you ready? I want you to get your cell phone. You're going to send a text to your husband, wife, friend, or partner and ask one question. What can I do to be a better partner in our relationship? You send that text right now. Don't tell them. Don't explain what it's about. Send the text. I've done this with thousands of people.
So do people, when say I texted her that right now,
I get hilarious. Yeah. Let me give you some of my favorites.
Well, I was going to say, is it so strange that people feel like is she going to text me back like, Scott, are you okay? Are you having like a stroke? Like, you want me to call 911?
Let me give you some of my favorites. A common one is, this is your wife. Who is this intended for? Another one, who's stolen my husband's cell phone?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Are you sick? Are you drunk? Yeah. Who are you sleeping with? Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I get hilarious responses, right?
How bad is that, right?
On a serious note, twice, two people told me later to save their marriage. That's good enough for me. To save marriages here. And you know why? On a serious note, you're right. We preach all this stuff and don't even practice it with people we love.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because I think that it's easy to tell if a business is broken because you see it in your bank account. I think unless you have the self-awareness or you're looking for it, it's not as easy to tell if a relationship is broken because there's no number.
It's also hard to look for it.
Yeah.
It's hard. Look, everything I teach is hard.
Not, it's simple. The concept is simple, but it's not easy. It's hard.
And by the way, if you want to know the concept of anything I teach better than the concept, just go to marshallgoldsmith.ai. I can tell you. You want to learn, it knows more than me. It'll teach you anything I know and a lot more on top of it.
Is there anything that, just some insights, some wisdom that you've had over your career, anything you're working on now that we didn't go into? Went into a lot.
I have a request. Please use the marshallgoldsmith.ai and send me an email. I give her my email address, marshall@marshallgoldsmith.com. Use the AI as much as you want to and send me an email address and let me know, I like this, give me ideas. Because for me, this is hopefully a lifetime project. Mm-hmm. I mean, hopefully I'm going to work on this the rest of my life. Because there's what's the definition of legacy? It's being there when you're not there. Look, I'm a realist. I'm 75. I'm not going to be here forever. And this is my my knowledge philanthropy, giving back, being there when I'm not there. And I love it and hopefully helps others. And there's no downside. Again, back to what I teach, feed forward. Ask for ideas, listen, use what works for you. If it doesn't work for you, let's say give you 8 suggestions. We'll say you like one of them. Okay, you're one ahead. You're one ahead. You don't have to do the other 7. You're a grown-up. Ignore the other 7. Just use the one. You win. And it's free anyway. What do you got to lose?
I love it. So if people want to connect with you, marshallgoldsmith.ai.
My email is marshall@marshallgoldsmith.com is my email.
Marshall@marshallgoldsmith.com.
And anybody can go to Marshall Goldsmith AI anytime.
Your biggest social is LinkedIn. So if people want to connect with you, you can go on LinkedIn. They can catch you there.
I don't want to raise expectations. LinkedIn only allows so many connections.
Okay. So they can follow what you're doing. Yeah.
Mine is way over that. But you can always follow. I hate the term follower, but I've got 1.5 million followers, so you can easily do that. But yeah, I can't say I can be a connection because they limit the number of connections.
Where do you like to, outside of the actual AI tool, where do you like to, is it YouTube? Is it Twitter? Like, where's the thing that people can get new information from you?
YouTube, I've got 400 videos online.
Okay.
You can go to coaching.com. Coaching.com.
Is that your domain?
No, but coaching.com, I gave them a bunch of training programs. There's
okay.
30 videos you can watch of me teaching coaches for free.
Okay, amazing. I'll find all this stuff. I want to put it all in the show notes.
I'm giving it all away anyway. So
yeah, I know you are. I know. That's why I'm trying to get it all out of you. I'm trying to get everything so I can just give people like a little, what is it? Like an amalgamation of all the different things that you've done, so they can just go learn. Amazing. Yeah, you put a lot of you put a lot of good content. I went down the rabbit hole this morning. You have a lot of good stuff. I love it. Of course. No, seriously.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, it's fine. It's whatever. If people are still watching at this point, then they're bought into the concept. They're bought into this. They're good. They're here. They don't care about the light changing color. Whatever. This is real life podcasting. Technology works like maybe 25% of the time. Who cares, right? So I'll give it to you. Some last words of wisdom, maybe something that you would tell your younger self or tell the audience, something that you just want to leave them with.
I will. Here's my final advice. The best coaching advice you're ever going to give in this or perhaps any other lifetime. Are we ready? Here it comes. Breathe. Take a deep breath. Imagine you're 95 years old and you're just getting ready to die. It's all over. Here comes that last breath. Right before you take the last breath, you're given a beautiful gift. The ability to go back in time and talk to the person who's listening to me right now. The ability to help that person be a better leader, more important, have a better life. What advice would the wise 95-year-old you who knows what mattered in life and what did not matter, what was really important, what was not important, what advice would that wise old person have for you that's listening to me right now? Whatever you're thinking now, do that. In terms of performance appraisal, that's the only one that will ever matter. That old person says you did the right thing, you did the right thing. That old person says you screwed up, you screwed up. You have to impress anybody else. Some friends of mine interviewed old folks who are dying, got to ask this question: what advice would you have? On the personal side, 3 themes. Theme number 1, we've discussed a little bit, 3, or be happy now. Not next month, not next month, not next week, not after I get the IPO, not after I get the money. Life is short. Be happy now. Don't get so busy chasing what you don't have, you never appreciate what you do have. Number 2, friends and family. Never get so busy climbing the ladder of success, and you brought this up, you forget the people you love. That's a big mistake. When you're 95 years old, they're the only ones waving goodbye. And number 3, if you got a dream, go for it, because you don't go for it when you're 30. You may not when you're 80, and entrepreneurs are pretty good at that one. Business advice isn't much different. Number 1, life is short, have fun. If you don't enjoy what you're doing the wrong thing. Number 2, do whatever you can do to help people. The main reason to help people has nothing to do with money or status or getting ahead. The main reason to help people is much deeper. That old you is going to be proud of you because you did and disappointed if you don't. You don't believe this is true? Interview any CEO who's retired, ask them, what are you proud of? I've interviewed a bunch of them. Nobody told me how big their office was. Final advice, go for it. Life is short. We usually regret the risks we fail to take, not the risks we take and fail. And finally, as I've grown old, what's my message, my mission in life? My mission in life is real simple. What do I want to do? Maybe just help you have a little better life. If somebody listening has just a little better life based on something I've done, or if you have made up or whatever, a little better life, you know what? I'm declaring victory here. Let's say we did this podcast and one person had a little better life. You know what? It's a good podcast. It's a good podcast. Yay. So thank you so much for inviting me.